Okay, we are out here to show you an air monitoring station we've got going at one of our sites out here in the field. This first unit right here is the Dust Track 2. That is collecting particulates in the air from the excavation. So this is the site-specific air filter where we're measuring at 2.5 microns. Next, you may recognize this guy right here, the PID, which is screening for the volatile organic compounds. And this is the EnviroCore cellular repeater, which is collecting the data and sending it over to a database. We, of course, have our filter for the PID up here. And then last but not least, right here is a moisture trap. All right, so now we pulled out a couple of the components here so that we can show you how they get calibrated and talk a little more in depth about how they work. Now what we're doing here is continuous air monitoring, and you may be asking yourself, hey, if you pull the components out, aren't you no longer continuously air monitoring? Well, luckily, we only really have to worry about that during excavation. And thankfully, we've been doing it since May, so we've got a pretty good track record of knowing when things are safe. Also helpful is that this is just one of 5 stations throughout the site. On this site, each of the 5 air monitoring units is powered by one of these solar panels, one for each unit. Batteries stored in each of these boxes. These units are so efficient that they're able to power the air monitors all year long in any conditions. So from startup on calibration, you're gonna hit that power button. You'll see the TSI logo when you boot it up. All right, you'll see this main dashboard come up. Next, you'll head over to setup down at the bottom right corner there. You want to install your calibration filter up there at the top. Go ahead and press 0 cal and start her up. So you hear the pump within start to purr a little bit. That lets you know it started. Calibration should take about 60 seconds each time. Once your calibration is complete, you're going to go ahead and remove the filter. You'll go to main and over to start. And once the reading here stabilizes, that will be your baseline for the day. HRP staff keeps an air monitoring log throughout the day. So once you have your baseline, you'll record it in those notes. We then use our site-specific plan, and we use these numbers as our alert levels and action levels. You can keep an eye on that reading. You're looking for a variation in that number of 0.001, but basically it's going to stop going up or down, and that's how you'll know you are calibrated. The baseline can be affected by temperature and humidity, and also outdoor air quality. And in this case, we add 1 drop of impact oil per week to the micron filter. And this helps to lubricate the pump. This is necessary for an air monitoring system that is going to be outside for such a long duration. We want to make sure when we're calibrating that we calibrate our PID as well. Calibrating a PID is pretty standard for GO staff at HRP Associates. We're going to show you a brief overview of how that process goes, but check out some of our other videos for a full breakdown on how to properly calibrate your PIDs. First thing you do is power it up. We're then going to prep the isobutylene. We then fill a Tedlar bag with isobutylene. Once you're about halfway full, you can go ahead and detach the Tedlar bag. Make sure you don't go over 80% volume if you're filling the bag here. There's usually an illustration, such as the one you're seeing here, to show you what an overfilled bag would be. Then you're going to enter the setup menu by holding down the 2 buttons you see here. You'll now do a 0 calibration on ambient air by selecting 0 cal and hitting that left button. Calibration usually takes between 30 and 60 seconds. We're now going to enter span calibration, and we'll set that up using the isobutylene. Again, you'll find span calibration in the menu and select it with the same button. You go ahead and attach your Tedlar bag. Very gently, you'll push a little bit of isobutylene through the sensor. All right, you want to get about 100 ppm to be calibrated. When you're all set, you'll get a nice little message on the screen. Once you're done, you can go ahead and hit that center back button. You then let the PID purge for a minute. So just like the Dust Track 2, the PID is affected by temperature and humidity. When these get set up early in the day, they can be zeroed out and properly calibrated. However, by afternoon, they need to be calibrated once again. You'll typically see a spike as a result of that change in humidity and temperature, but we can confirm that that is not a result of the excavation, but is due to environmental conditions. Once you're done calibrating, you want that dust monitor to go back in first. Make sure you've got your power plugged in as well as your USB for the EnviroCore. Hose goes back onto the Micron filter. Going to reinstall the PID and make sure that power is attached to it. Comms cable goes to the bottom of the PID. Make sure that data is being received by the EnviroCore. Filter reattached to the hose for the PID. Double check that everybody's got power, especially the EnviroCore. And you're all set and ready to close up.